All right, if you want to grow fruit trees, there are some things that you need to know when you're picking them out.
KEZI 9 News anchor Sean Quayer explains how to get the most fruit on your trees in this week's In the Garden.
Are you ready for Pollination 101, at least when it comes to fruit trees? Joining me right now, Caleb Johnson with Johnson Brothers Greenhouses. 2 types of pollinators.
Yeah, so we get a lot of questions about, how do I get fruit on my fruit trees? And so one of the common misconceptions is if I have an apple and a cherry tree, will they pollinate each other? And the answer is no. So if you've got an apple tree, you need to get another variety of an apple tree, or maybe your neighbor's got one.
But there are some trees that do self-pollinate. What would those be? Yeah,
there are some, especially a lot of peaches and nectarines are self-fruitful. However, what we've found is that increasing the amount of pollen, so getting another variety, will in fact actually increase the fruit that is produced even on the self-fruitful.
And there's something you do have to take in consideration is when choosing an apple and an apple, they have to bloom at the same time, right?
Yeah, so we have signs and people here to help, but yeah, you want to find a pollinator that blooms at the same time, because if you have an apple that's an early bloomer, an apple that's a late bloomer, they may not have blooms open at the same time, and so you kind of miss that window for pollen to go from one to the other.
What about spacing then? Or how close do they need to be when you plant them?
They can be up to 50 feet apart and still have a good chance between the wind and the bees to cross-pollinate.
And if they pollinate, guess what you get?
You get more fruit.
That's what we're looking for. All right, thanks, Caleb.